Is Nexus Drafthouse. It's a show all about draft analysis, helping you improve your own drafts, understanding pro drafts for when you're watching, and just emphasizing a part of the game that is a little undervalued, and that is the draft. So let's get our guest on right now. Using some high-tech technology, top tier production value, as you listen to the Skype beep, classic. And there he is. This is our guest tonight. Shot Hots. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How are you?
Oh, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So we've got some exciting drafts today because, BlizzCon is coming up like really soon, like a week, and this is the opening week qualifiers.
Yep.
Finally get to see some international competition, cross-region play in tournaments on LAN and all that, and it's good stuff. I was at work all day because I'm an old man and I have to work, and it's the worst. So I haven't seen any of these games. But how were the games yesterday and today?
There were a lot of good games. Some were kind of like stomps, if you will. But there were some really good games. There was a arguable upset between PBA and E-Star. PBA
Right.
pulled it out under E-Star. Everyone really just wrote that off. Was like E-Star is going to win that, but
Sure.
I mean PBA has been getting stronger and stronger. They've been to like 3 world championships now, and so they're like getting better every single time. So
Right.
they're no longer like a wild card anymore.
Yeah, they're legit for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you think there's some kind of residual kind of bias towards Asian teams because of the history of StarCraft, or do you think it's well warranted, or do you think the foreign teams, as they call them in the StarCraft scene, the foreign teams have a better shot than most people think this year?
And the foreign teams being basically everyone that's not Asian.
Everyone but Korea, basically,
Yeah,
and
basically
and
without
China.
Korea.
Yeah.
Well, mostly Korea.
Yeah, mostly Korea.
But I mean, even in like NA pro scene, we all say like all hail the Korean overlords.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty warranted in our eyes. Like they understand the game at such a different level that it's insane, and they work together so much better than any team that we could ever come up with could.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the it's not all hype for sure, and they show that with their play and their results. But I do think there's a slimmer margin between the regions this year than previous years.
I would agree with that.
It's
100%.
closer.
It used to just be MVP Black always.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, no one can even
Yeah.
compare.
Yeah. And they're definitely showing some weaknesses every now and then. Maybe with some time, or maybe even this year, we'll see a huge upset and we'll see one of those foreign teams win BlizzCon. That would be awesome. I root for Korean teams and foreign teams. I'm just happy to be there watching. So
Same.
Yeah. So you picked a couple drafts for us today. One was from yesterday, or are they both from today?
They are both from. No, the denial one was yesterday, I think.
Okay. All right. So let's start with that one since it was yesterday. We have Denial Esports and MVP Black on Infernal Shrines.
Yes.
Now this is actually both our drafts today are Infernal Shrines, which I think is a good idea. I like that because
I mean, I chose both on Infernal Shrines just because it's like the most popular map in professional play, and it's going to be played almost every single series. So I mean, it's a common map that people will see, and I thought like I could give some insight to the map too.
Plus, I think it helps to get two different drafts on the same map from the same tournament, because it shows you two different stories of how teams draft.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, we'll just jump right into this then. There in these tournaments, and we'll start with the first ban, Denial banning ETC here. In these tournaments, you see a lot of early prioritization of these two kind of top tanks.
Yeah.
What do you think of the ETC ban? Why on this map? And where do you lean on Muradin versus ETC kind of thing?
Me personally, I think ETC is better than Muradin, but other teams don't think so. But obviously, everyone thinks that the tanks are a little bit overtuned, so you need to kind of fight over them right now. Obviously, the top two are ETC and Muradin, but the first ban ETC is actually pretty common. because I mean he has a global, he has hard initiate that's almost like instant.
Hmm.
You can go the threat of Mosh Pit if you have to, which was seen in the other draft that I show.
Yeah.
But I mean, he just brings so much to the table. Muradin, he's good at exactly what ETC does, except just like a little bit less. Like he's not as good at it,
Right.
but he's safer and he has more health and he won't die.
Hmm.
So I just I like ETC over Muradin just because like if you're confident in your play and you know exactly what your limits are, you should be better. You'd have better results on ETC than Muradin, in my opinion, but I don't know.
And is this kind of ban indicative of the comp style they'll go for? Because to me it says if you're going for ETC, then you're going for an aggressive comp. You want to like stun out and kill a guy, and
Right.
Whereas with if you see a Muradin proclivity, it'll probably be more like a poke comp. At least that's kind of how I see it when I see these teams doing this. Because Muradin can hang out and he can regen and he can stun and he's not going anywhere. Whereas ETC's like, here we come, we're killing you, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I would definitely say that Muradin's far better at peeling than ETC is, but ETC is still decent at it. I mean, just in general, the ETC ban is just like really, really standard. You fight over the two best tanks, just get rid of one of them, force them to ban the other one, and you both play with like lesser tanks. But there's always like Dahaka and stuff.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of Dahaka, and I love him.
Or sacrifice the good tank and make them lose out on a priority damage dealer. And that's what MVP Black ended up doing. They just decided not to ban Muradin.
Right.
And went with ban a high priority.
Yeah, they banned Malfurion here.
They banned Malfurion, sorry. Yeah. Also, that's like another standard ban. Like, okay, so you can't fight over the tanks because you'll give up Malfurion. So they had to ban Malfurion, which allows Denial to pick whatever tank they want.
Right.
Without contestation.
Yeah, so now this show is about analyzing pro drafts, but also helping people in their own drafts. Would you advise in your Hero League games to fight over the tanks, so to speak, or would you just say keep it simple and ban who's the strongest, Malf, Samuro, whatever?
Yeah, in Hero League, I would say probably just like the tanks don't really matter as much in Hero League, but I mean,
right.
If someone already has banned like Malfurion on the other team and you guys are fine with Zarya or Samuro going through, I mean, ETC is always like the next ban that everyone goes to.
Right.
He's usually a second rotation ban in Hero League, but he is almost always the second rotation ban.
Right. So yeah, Denial.
I would agree with it. So
yeah, okay, that answers my question. So they do go with the Muradin first pick because at this level, like you said, it's much more about kind of locking down that kind of coveted tank role because there aren't a ton of great choices.
Well, also King Caffeine's favorite tank is Muradin. It's the one that he performs on the most. Back in Cloud9 days, they would often first pick Muradin just because King Caffeine would excel whenever he was on Muradin.
Right.
So they have a little favoritism there, so they might have picked it early because of that as well.
So not only is he a super high priority pick, but he's also a comfort pick. So that's just kind of a gimme. Yeah. All right. Cool. What happens next? MVP Black here for Korea picks Kerrigan and Tyrael.
Yeah, that's the problem with banning ETC as first pick and not taking Kerrigan.
Right.
Okay, so you got Muradin, congrats. Like, you choked them out on tanks, but you just gave Rich, one of the best melee players in the world, Kerrigan, on Kerrigan's best map, arguably.
It's hard to argue any other map for it.
And then Tyrael, then they pick up Tyrael, and MVP Black's Tyrael sanctifications are insane. So, I mean, you've dug yourself a hole already, but I mean, it's still winnable, obviously. It's just the easiest engage on Kerrigan is ETC. And they went with the Muradin, so it's harder for them to lock her down or get around her.
And so, let's say you're sitting in Denial's captain seat here. How does this draft go for you so far? I mean, if you get to, and obviously you don't know what they're going to do, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do know what they're gonna do, but
I mean, if you're
yeah,
picking
if
and
I was,
banning, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I definitely wouldn't go with like the future picks are, but
Right.
I like to play this like more standard. Like I would probably start going for global at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be looking for like a Brightwing or a Falstad,
Sure.
but also like trying to get more priority damage dealers. Like Vala's already gone, but Zarya's still up. She's an option. You can always go for Li Ming at this point.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot of things that you can go into that are just safe picks that can lead into any kind of comp. But Denial is known for like their Tassadar type play, and I think that's what they go into.
Okay. Yeah, they do do that. I did, but I guess my question at this point is: would you rather get King Caffeine as Muradin or give MVP Black Tyrael Kerrigan? Like, which is worse?
I would have taken Kerrigan.
Okay.
I would have given up Muradin.
Gotcha.
One, because Glaurung is a pretty good Kerrigan, and it's Kerrigan's best map, and I don't want Rich to have it.
Got it. Got it. They do pick up Tassadar and Illidan, so they take a very powerful thing that MVP Black is definitely known for from them, but they already have a Kerrigan. So do you think that this 2 pick here is just about blocking MVP Black from doing what they do, or?
Well, okay, so this pick made me think when I saw it. I was like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna bring out the Illidan Tassadar that early,
Mm-hmm.
but like that early into BlizzCon, but they busted it out right after they picked the Kerrigan. So that made me start thinking, were the bans deliberate so that they were baiting MVP Black, like you need to choose Illidan or you need to choose Kerrigan right now, or what, and we're gonna take the other.
Right.
So I'm thinking that Denials tried to like ask MVP Black, like, what do you prefer more, Kerrigan or Illidan? And then MVP Black went with the Kerrigan,
Mm-hmm.
and so Denial just took the other one, which
Okay.
they're both very, very strong compositions, and trading for them isn't that bad because both teams have really good melee players, and their teams really excel at defend their melee players. Comps.
Right. Okay. So they'd been practicing this. It's not just about MVP Black. It's also something they're comfortable with and wanting to do.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that explains it to me, because I was kind of wondering when I looked at it, like, is that all about Rich there? I mean, he's already on Kerrigan, so... Okay. So MVP does end up banning Vala here. Vala. Vala has come up a lot recently in the meta. Definitely considered the strongest ranged sustained DPS. Would you agree with that here?
100% agree with that. Vala is ridiculous right now.
Mm-hmm.
She just brings out so much like heavy sustained damage, and it's like always consistent. She does crazy numbers. If played to her like full extent, she can completely dominate team fights. It's insane. Vala's so good right now, and I love playing Vala, but it's just kind of annoying to deal with every game though.
I love playing her too after the rework, and but yeah, she is crazy strong. Denial here bans out the Tychus. Now this one, obviously a very popular. Oops, I accidentally chose pick and not ban. There we go. Obviously a very popular hero on Korean teams and on many other teams too. What do you think of the Tychus ban here, or its reasons?
I mean, Tychus is not great against Illidan, but not bad against Illidan.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Denial banned it out mostly because the comfort pick of the Korean region loves Tychus.
Yeah.
So and especially on this map, because they really like to like sometimes they like to go laser on this map, sometimes they like to go Odin. It just like depends really.
Right.
But so they just think Tychus has a lot of value on this map in specific, and Denial knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So they banned out Tychus because of that. I'm betting mostly on that.
Sure.
I mean, Tychus gets a little bit of value against Illidan because he can like follow him with his Q, and it
Right.
counts as ability damage. And then at level 16, you can get armor piercing rounds, which does more damage to your Q target.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little nice, but I don't see them being like, that's such a hard counter, and then they banned it.
Right. Right.
I just think it's more of the comfort ban.
Plus, he's with the Vala band. He's also knowing their Korean team. I mean, he just fits into their comp pretty well so far. You know, like
He's one of the only ranged carries that they actually would
Right,
want.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so makes sense. That's a good ban in my view. Let's see. What do they do next? MVP gets Rhaegar and Li Ming.
Yup. I mean, that's just they looked for their healer. They decided which healer they wanted, which is interesting because in North America right now, it's kind of accepted that like Medic, Brightwing, and Malfurion are like the best healers,
Mm-hmm.
and Rhaegar's not that great.
Right, which is
But
strange considering the history of heroes, but yeah.
yeah, but Korea still kind of favors Rhaegar a little bit, and also I guess they just didn't want to run a Brightwing healer with a Kerrigan dive. They wanted more of like a burst heal. They
Right.
could have went like an Uther or something for the D shield Kerrigan, but
Mhm.
they have the sanctification already.
Yeah. Plus, Brightwing loses value on this map for sure. I mean,
Yes, she does.
She's not her best map. Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah. All right.
and then Li Ming is just like really solid backline. They needed a good damage dealer, someone that can put up the numbers and stay safe, like kind of like a Vala. And Li Ming is the next person that comes to mind, and so they just picked her up.
Right. Do you think they would have rather had the Tychus?
I think they would have rather picked Vala or Tychus.
Right.
Both of them they would have picked over Li Ming,
Yeah.
but they went with Li Ming this game.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Always a solid hero, like for sure. And then shit gets kooky. So, they pick Uther, and you're like, okay, Uther, I get it. Divine Shield, whatever. And then they get the Gul'dan. There he is. Love that dude. Love him.
Yeah. This threw me off. Like I understood, but it threw me off because the Uther, not because of the Gul'dan.
Okay.
Gul'dan's actually getting more popular right now within the pro scene.
I think he's underrated, personally.
A lot of teams do.
Yeah.
It's hard to find the best spot for him in compositions.
Right.
But in a composition like this, where Illidan is like diving and has to is like being a distraction in the back of MVP Black's team, Gul'dan gets free chance to just throw all of his spells with no damage coming back at him because they're all dealing with Illidan.
Yeah.
So like, it's more of a distraction comp. Like Gul'dan kills everybody. And then the Uther I was upset with though because I don't like how long his cooldowns take to sustain an Illidan. It's like Illidan goes in, gets chunked, he pops his evasion, and then he gets healed by Uther, and he goes, all right, now wait 20 seconds or so until I can heal you again. It's just really frustrating, as opposed to like any other healer can like continuously sustain him, except for like Medic, because she can't catch him.
Right. Now they do have Tassadar to kind of compensate for some of that.
They do,
Yeah.
but I mean, sometimes you lose value because of D shield and just regular TAS shield. You lose value there. Or, I mean, it's just this composition has been run a lot, like the TAS healer Illidan.
Yeah.
And it's like been confirmed that Uther is like one of the worst ones because of his cooldowns.
Because of the cooldowns.
And his inability to sustain Illidan despite the fact that he has a D shield. Like, Illidan's really good at staying alive at low HP, so you can get like a Rhaegar on there and he's like, alright, Ancestral for full health, and it was the easiest thing to hit. So it's kind of a waste.
Actually,
if you pick a different hero.
If you look at their comp, everyone on their team is good at staying alive at low health.
Yeah.
Actually, their entire comp is good at that. So that's kind of interesting. It's probably not why they picked it, but it's something to note.
That's very true.
I do think Gul'dan filling that kind of bruiser role for this team is interesting. He doesn't have the best range, but he has range, and he has really good, self-sustain. So he's not gonna ask a lot of his healers for the most part. Plus, that's what I'm thinking is maybe they just like the AoE heal of Uther's W to help out Gul'dan a little bit. I'm not sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't really like it all that much. Maybe it's also because they're afraid that Gul'dan might get caught out of position every now and then because he has to get so close, so maybe they need a D-shield.
Right.
But, I mean, if you're not D-shielding the Illidan, then things are going to get bad.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's for him. Yeah. MVP Black rounds out their composition with Falstad, which is, pretty solid pick all around. They have melee damage. They have a solo Tyrael tank, which looks weird to to us maybe, but it's pretty common for Korean teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think there's something maybe the Falstad about the Falstad, or?
I mean, it's pretty standard. I mean, it's really just a solid character all around that they could pick up.
Mm-hmm.
He gives them a global as well, which is always nice. Gives them like a solo laner.
Right.
I mean, they just were looking for damage, and Falstad is all around good always. So you can just pick him up.
And range damage has been banned out pretty well. Now, Falstad, you see him here as the 10th pick. He's obviously fallen quite a bit in the meta, but still a very useful hero in situations. I know you're a big Falstad player. What do you think of Falstad's place in the meta right now?
I think it's healthy where he is. I didn't like it when he was like, oh, first rotation, you have to pick Falstad.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the other team gets it. Like, I didn't really like that, even though I played Falstad a lot.
Right.
But I just didn't enjoy how pressured I was into playing him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I like it a lot because, like, you don't have to have the global, you don't have to have the Falstad pressure. And especially since he's not as strong, he doesn't do like the split push pressure as hard anymore. He doesn't chunk as hard anymore, but it's still a healthy amount of damage.
Right.
So I'm just really happy with where his numbers are. I think he's like smack in the middle of like between like the necessary like really good characters and like the kind of bad characters. He's like right there in the good ones.
Yeah, so he's balanced now, and you can enjoy playing him.
Yeah.
Cool, that's cool. So MVP Black did end up winning this game pretty handily.
I might want to point out it's because they had to de-shield the Gul'dan a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they took a gamble. I feel like against a team like MVP Black, you kind of have to gamble, though, you know? You kind of have to hope to hit them with something they aren't expecting, like cheesing in StarCraft. It's like, this guy's better than me, so I'm going to try to proxy rush him, you know? Like, maybe I'll win, you know? Like, so, not that Denial is... I mean, Denial's a great team, but obviously MVP Black has a lot going for them, and they're quite intimidating.
Yeah.
So MVP Black does end up winning this by quite a bit, from what I saw at the end of the VOD there. And any comments about how the game went down, or?
I mean, Denial looked like they were in control for a little bit, but then at one point MVP Black took over and they just started destroying everything. And like at one point Kerrigan was like top lane, just like pushing down a lane, and the 4 others had a 4v5 fight and they won. And I was like, oh, come on, Denial, please.
Yeah.
It was pretty ugly.
I personally, and I know it's different in the hands of very seasoned players, I like a little more reliable damage from a comp than Denial has here. Personally, like a Li Ming, a Vala, you know, the Gul'dan, his damage is going to come out, but it's not impactful damage the way those other ranged heroes are, you know, or Kerrigan.
Agree with you.
Yeah. You know, you got Tastar. It's like you're playing to stay alive, and the other team's playing to kill you, and most times the team that's going to kill you is going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, just a lot of people would have picked like just a really standard range there, like Falstad. Like they could have taken it before MVP Black did. Like a lot of teams would just take like any range damage that is more consistent than Gul'dan. But I mean, I guess Denial had been practicing this Gul'dan comp, and they thought this was the time to pull it out.
Right. No,
it just didn't work out for them.
I do think that comp could work in a lot of situations. It just didn't this time. Yeah. But for me personally, my own taste, I like to have that clincher. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a break for a second. We'll do this right in the middle. Shot played in Heroes of the Dorm last year in the championship, Arizona State University Heroes of the Dorm team. He most recently was on imported support, and your team before that was there one before that, or?
I had Resurgence before that.
Resurgence. Okay. And he's a free agent for NA, and they recently announced that, you know, they're going to be supporting their players in this community a lot, monetarily and in other ways, which I think is fantastic. So Shot is looking for a team. What are you looking for in a team? What are you bringing to a team? I don't know. What do you want people to see? I'll definitely post this clip tomorrow for people to see, so no pressure. No pressure, but
I mean, I'm just looking to join a team that I know can make top 8. There's a lot of spots in top 8 right now that are pretty open for a pretty decent team to make it into the top 8. I want to like improve with a team and like make it and show that we can be like up there with the other signed teams. I'm a ranged mainly. Ranged flex. I play ranged, melee, and tank. I basically play everything besides support. And yes, I play all the bizarre characters like Lost Vikings, Medivh. I don't play Medivh as bad as I did at PAX, I swear.
I remember that.
Besides that, I mean, just looking to succeed, I guess.
I'd like to get into that a little bit. Let's get real for a second.
Right.
Now, obviously becoming a professional Heroes of the Storm player is a hard thing to do, especially as an American. The culture just isn't there as much. Why do you want to do this? I guess. Well, why like, not why, but what about this makes this your ambition? You know what I mean? I know that's a big question.
I mean, I've always been a competitive person. I've played like sports when I was young, forever, and I was always trying to be the best. I'm not really in it because like Blizzard has announced money or whatever, and I'm not like being all serious now because there's money involved.
You've always been serious.
I've always been here.
Absolutely.
I've always tried to be in the scene. And it hasn't changed even with the announcement of the money. Like, this is just more like I just want to win.
Right.
I want to compete against the best people and like try my hardest as opposed to like beating people that I think I should beat or losing to people that I think I should lose to.
Yeah.
I want to be like at the top, fighting for the top with people that it could go either way.
Right.
Because that's really what's exciting during competition for me.
Yeah, and see, that's what I wanted to bring out of you here is to show, to emphasize that you're a competitor, and that's a very key element of a successful player. Now, the money, the Blizzard money for salaried, contracted players next season, it's not necessarily meant to be, at least in my eyes, your incentive. It's a logistical thing to make your life, make you able to pursue it,
Yeah.
So it's very strong incentive. Like, I mean, don't you could say it's, but I mean, this money would help me be the best I could be, which is what I see, as this announcement kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely like a lot of people were like, oh wow, my full-time gaming with like no income is finally going to actually have income.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, well, I mean, it helps.
There's
so
a lot
much.
of us that are like struggling through that.
Absolutely. How could you not? Like it's you can't go to college and get a pro gaming degree. There's no entry level positions. It's a wild west. So
Right.
yeah, no, that's very cool, and I'm super excited about that. So yeah, Shot belongs on a team. He's a great player. His Medivh is awful.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
It's so much better now. I
Oh,
swear.
okay. He's practicing his Medivh. Good. No, but he's a top level competitor. And
about that game, I messed up at the first altar at the top left at stalling, and I died to an orb, which I should have been able to dodge. By that point, I was tilted off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And I just started like messing around. I was like, I give up. I hate this.
He went full.
I was so upset.
Full Russell Westbrook when he gets a foul called on him. Yeah, just rage mode. That's all right. It happens to the best of us.
I don't know. My tilt just overcame me, and I apologize to my team. Like, it's all right, dude. Don't worry about it.
It's one game. No big deal.
Yep.
All right, cool. So let me bust out my little notebook here where I write my drafts so we can do this next game. Bowie. Okay, so this was also on Infernal Shrines. This is from today, and it was between Fnatic and E-Star, Chinese team. They are Chinese, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they are.
All right. Any comments about these teams heading into this? As far as this map? Or?
I mean, I'm pretty sure people thought that Fnatic was going to come out on top on this matchup. Fnatic has just been looking like really, really strong, and even though like they came in second to Dig for their region, they're still like an incredibly strong team. E-Star is like everyone respects E-Star 100%. Like even MVP Black has said some good things about them in interviews. It's just I don't know. They just seem to be. They seemed to be lacking today. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fnatic had control for most of the time,
Right.
for sure.
Between the EU teams in BlizzCon, which do you think is the stronger European team?
I definitely think. I think Fnatic's stronger when they're on their A game,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Dignitas is far more consistent.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I get it. So Fnatic with the first ban here, they do ban out Kerrigan. So already this draft is taking a different path than the last
Yes.
one. So they ban the high priority. She's a god on this map. I don't want to deal with it, you know. And then E-Star responds by banning the Malf, who's also just, you know, he's a godlike healer, you know, just don't want
basic standard.
So that leaves both tanks open. They're just like, we're gonna get our tanks and we're gonna rumble, you know, which I think makes more interesting game to me personally.
Definitely.
Rather than here comes Kerrigan, you know, like
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. They ban the best heroes on this map. Always a good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool. And then Fnatic, they have a choice here between Murd and ETC. So we talked about this earlier.
Fnatic prioritizes ETC over Muradin in this case. I don't know if it's because they have a plan, or I mean, I do know if it's because they have a plan, but
Yeah.
like it could be because they have a plan, or they just think that ETC is better than Muradin. Honestly, it's probably because they can pick up either one of them, and like whichever one they're more comfortable with, they're gonna go for, because either tank can go into any comp basically.
Right.
You don't really need a specific comp with ETC as opposed to Muradin.
Now there is one thing that I think maybe pushes ETC a little bit over Muradin in this situation, or in most situations, is when you pick ETC, you then put a bit of a burden on the enemy team. They can't just be like, all right, they got ETC, we're drafting whatever you want. You have to at least consider Mosh Pit. You know,
yeah, it's true.
You have to take things. You controlled their draft a little bit with this pick, whereas Muradin, it's like, okay, you know, he's good, you know.
Although in like NA, it's super popular to take stage dive, and like everyone's just like, oh yeah, we'll take stage dive, whatever. Like, no, at the top level, you still have to consider, ooh, if we draft a comp that doesn't have any form of crowd control, they are going to go mosh pit, and we are going to lose.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, there is definitely strain put on the enemy team just by an ETC pick.
It's a more aggressive pick for sure. So, yeah, E-Star then, seeing the ETC, picks up Muradin and Li Ming. Obviously, Muradin, don't need to say a lot about that. He's just the other tank, and if you don't get him, he's going to be gone. The other top tank. And Li Ming, very early in the draft. What do you think that's about?
Yeah, I think it's that they didn't want to show their hand too early. They just didn't want to show that, like, they didn't want to show really, like, any secrets in their draft. They just wanted to run it standard. Muradin is the other really standard tank. They're going to pick him up. Li Ming, very standard damage. I probably would have went with like a Vala or something, because this isn't Li Ming's like best map, because she can't get orbs through the skeletons on the shrines. But Calamity does get value on the shrines. It's arguable for her on the map. But I mean, it's just a really safe pick and not showing any of the strategy that E-Star's looking to do into the draft.
So it's an early Li Ming pick, but it keeps the cards close to the chest.
Yes.
That's I mean, probably a good call. Yeah. All right. So the draft gets a little interesting here. I mean, not super. It's not super like surprising, but they pick up Vala and Zarya. So they already have their tank and their off tank and their main damage source.
Yeah.
What do you think of these two picks here?
The Vala is a good pickup because Vala needs to be picked up sometime in this meta. So Vala, just a really strong damage dealer, can follow up really well with ETC in general, and she can also go Rain if she has to, just follow up even more.
Yeah.
Zarya is really strong with ETC because she's considered a warrior. She's kind of more of a bruiser in a lot of people's opinions, and she also gives ETC more of a buffer when he slides in. Because when you're ETC and you slide in, you have to like have an escape plan. You have to be like, okay, how do I get out if I slide in here? Now ETC can slide in and Zarya can be like, here's a shield, and you're like, all right, sick.
Mitigates his risk.
Yeah, or if Vala is like being chased down, like Zarya can shield Vala and she can get a lot of damage for herself. And I mean, it's just a good pickup in general, and also Zarya is very strong at point congestion
Right.
with Expulsion Zone or Graviton Surge, like super strong congestion on points.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there a situation where you wouldn't want Zarya as your second warrior, if you already have a warrior? Like, when is it not okay to take Zarya? Do you think that situation exists?
I mean, if you don't have a comfortable Zarya player, that's a situation that exists.
Sure, sure. All right.
I mean,
What's she bad at, I guess?
she's bad at diving.
Okay.
By far. She's really not that great at going super hard on people.
Right. She's kind of like in a Johanna vein in a way in that she's a very passive warrior.
She's bad at diving unless you have like a super divey melee character, like Kerrigan. Or,
sure, because then she just helps him. Yeah.
Yeah, or Illidan.
Yeah, or Illidan. Yeah.
But other than that, she's more of like I don't know. She's bad at peeling too. It's really weird. She is
bad at peeling. Yeah.
She's very bad at peeling.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Is like she has ults for some CC, but she doesn't do that stuff. Like, you know, she's a very interesting hero to me. I like her place in the game.
She's definitely more for like a damage meat shield, basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So E-Star here bans out Ariel. Can you? What did you think of that ban? Because I wasn't sure what they were scared of. With obviously she's a very good healer, but what do you think of the Ariel ban?
Ariel is really strong with Vala in general, and also if you're fighting over Shrine, Ariel has infinite amount of sustain as long as Vala can do damage. So maybe they were afraid of the stall out on the Shrine that they didn't want to happen.
Right.
Or, I mean, they're just afraid of Smexy's Ariel. I don't know.
See, because to me the kind of the common perception of Ariel is that she's strongest as a momentum stopper. You know, with Crystal Aegis. So they have a Kerrigan. Ariel's a good pick. You know, like things like that. ETC.
Right.
Yeah. You know, just hard initiate teams. Crystal Aegis can really just ruin the whole momentum of a comp like that. So I thought this ban was interesting for that reason because I didn't really see it coming out of Fnatic here. But yeah, they do end up banning Tychus Findlay. Do you know his last name was Finley?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did know that his last name was Finley. That's the Tychus ban didn't really surprise me. They have two quote unquote tanks. They don't want to get shredded down, especially if ETC slides in. Tychus can just stand there and shred him down if he's not the target. So, and then it's pretty easy to get really good damage on Zarya's Tychus. It's just a good ban in general. And like I said last draft, he's just really good at point congestion with his laser or his Odin or grenades or anything. Like they're just all really strong tools for him to fight over the shrines.
Right. Yeah. The ban makes sense to me for sure. Because when you pick ETC, you get a lot of strength, and you kind of have to. Your enemy team has to worry about mosh pit a little bit, and you have to worry about not letting him be out on an island by himself all game. You know, like not letting him slide around and die. You know. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha. I think these kind of things are a lot of things. Like people know ETC is good, but they don't know why he's good, they don't know why sometimes he doesn't work very well, you know. So that's kind of why I do this show, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So Tassadar Brightwing comes out for E-Star.
That should be a red flag for Fnatic. They should be like, oh god, they're gonna pick some melee, and what's the only melee that's really up that benefits from a lot of shields and heals?
That would be Illidan, yeah.
That would be Illidan. It's like, because Brightwing is most likely going to go teleport build, where she gets a phase shield at 7, and then Tassadar is just a monster with Illidan. Yeah. Like, you could argue, it might be Sonya, but not really this day and age do you see Sonya. So that should be red flag for Fnatic in my opinion.
There's Alarak. Yeah.
There is Alarak, possibility. Yeah. Just not as common to go with the tasks combo with it.
Right.
And it's a Asian team. Like the Asian teams love Illidan. Right. They all love Illidan. So plus, I mean, it's just the biggest red flag in the world to me.
Plus, Alarak's a bad Protoss, and Tastar's a good Protoss. So, yes.
Right, you can't have the lore conflicting.
Yeah, they wouldn't do that. So yeah, and the other thing is Illidan here still fits in this comp for Fnatic. Like, I mean, he doesn't have Tassadar, but he's not like this sore thumb sticking out if you pick him.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not the worst pick, like to say, I don't know, like pick like Illidan, Rhaegar, or something here. Like you still have the shield, you still have like the big heals, you still have the Illidan. You're just missing the slight lifesteal and damage mitigation.
It's a bit heavy on the melee, but it's not too bad. And the other thing is, like you said, if you take the Illidan here, E-Star's kind of hanging out in the wind, right? Like they're like, I guess Alarak, Sonya, I don't know,
yeah.
So yeah, but they don't do that. And actually, I was watching this VOD, and they took forever to pick these two picks. They thought about these last two picks on Fnatic for like 15 minutes. It felt like, I don't know how long it was, but they end up picking up two supports here, Tyrande and Rhaegar.
Tyrande, my bae.
Yeah, there you go.
Love some Tyrande.
She's fun, no question. So what do you think that's about? I mean, this team is supporty. It's kind of got like 2.5 supports. And actually, it's got everyone but Vala supports in some way. Like, yeah.
I mean, so the idea behind the comp is like, yeah, it's supporty and like defensive, but it's also offensive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you have the ETC Tyrande combo, where ETC slides the target, Tyrande instantly follows up with a Lunar Flare, Hunter marks the target, all the range damage throws everything they have at that one target, pop, the target's gone. No matter who it is, even if it's Murden, probably be gone within a second.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that capability now, as well as, wow, look at all the sustain we have.
Mm-hmm.
We have Tyrande Rhaegar, which can kind of match the Tassadar Brightwing.
Mm-hmm. My only concern with this comp would be maybe finishing. Like you can stun a lot, but you don't quite have enough damage to like really finish someone off.
Yeah.
Obviously they do, because they end up winning this game.
I mean,
but it's an interesting comp to me because it is both offensive and defensive, but it's not bursty,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
I mean, it's still bursty in a sense, though, at the same time. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I like it because it's a Tyrande comp, and I love Tyrande.
Right. This comp can kill one guy really well.
Yes.
Which is a good way to win the game,
Yep. I know a lot about this comp. Ask anybody about drafting against any of my teams. They go, okay, just ban Tyrande.
Well,
like, okay, thanks.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, but I think it was Casanova was on our show a couple weeks back, and we went over one of your games where you drafted a draft without the Zarya, but it was all about kill one guy,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's effective. It can definitely work, and it worked in this instance because Fnatic ended up winning this game over E-Star.
They had a beautiful... Did we already talk about E-Star's last pick?
Oh, no, we haven't yet. It's Illidan, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Fnatic had a beautiful... there was a Graviton Surge, which hit 2 people, and then Illidan was going to jump to another target, and right as he jumped, a Mosh Pit came down by Breeze.
Mm-hmm.
And it just locked him down for like 10 seconds. It was so beautiful.
So they went Mosh Pit, huh?
They did. They ended up going Mosh Pit.
Oh, wow.
At one point, Illidan backdoored a keep, while Fnatic couldn't back because E-Star wouldn't let them. It was an all-over-the-place game.
Nice. I would not have expected Mosh Pit with the Polymorph and the Stormbolt. But,
yeah, I mean, he ended up going in. And Li Ming also went Wave
of Force.
Oh, yeah,
Wave of Force. Yeah, for sure. Huh, well, that's ballsy. I like it.
Yep.
That's cool. So even though they kind of... So maybe they saw the Illidan coming, and they were like... Because they were... I'm serious, they were talking forever. But, like, maybe they saw the Illidan coming, and they were like, let's do this instead,
Well, I'm sure they saw the Illidan coming.
Yeah.
I don't think they wanted to run the Illidan without Tassadar.
Right.
So they decided on, like, what can kill an Illidan, and they're like, Tyrande can.
Yeah, for sure. So we talk about this a lot on this show, is drafting your own comp versus anti-drafting the enemy's comp. And they went with... And it's almost... Everyone agrees you should draft your comp. And that's what they did here. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah. I'm probably going to maybe play a couple of Hero League games and then go watch these VODs, because I want to see these games. I'm sad I missed them all, man.
But they're pretty good.
Are you going to BlizzCon?
I am going to be at BlizzCon, yes.
Well, I will be there too. Maybe we can hang out. I'll buy you a drink. Thank you for coming on Nexus Drafthouse.
Absolutely.
Originally, the plan was to have my guests drink beer on Nexus Drafthouse, like their favorite beer. But,
yeah.
But then it was like, oh, my first 6 guests are 19. Like,
oh no.
I guess that's not gonna work. Yeah. So, yeah.
Just don't have them say how old they are. Hello, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, I'll go to jail for Nexus Drafthouse. Sure.
Possibly go wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're finally able to make it, and I will definitely put it out there. And I hope it. Our audience wasn't too great tonight. I mean, as far as numbers, but that's all right. We're gonna put it out there that you're looking for a team. I'm sure plenty of people know, but we want everyone to know. And
all right.
I'm gonna wish you best of luck, man, for sure.
All right, thank you, man.
Yeah,
it means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see you in Anaheim.
All right, see you later, man.
All right, laters. Bye.